Okay, let's choose up. I'll take Jamal and Tutal. You can have Chubbs and Skippy. Let's go. My ball.
Okay. But you got skins.
Not a good negotiator? You don't have to be a good negotiator at McCarthy Chevrolet. McCarthy guarantees the lowest prices on a new Chevy or we'll pay you $10,000. We guarantee there's no need to shop anyplace else. McCarthy Chevrolet, I-35 and Santa Fe, Olathe.
Welcome back, Racing Boys. I'm Kirk Elliott, Scott Traylor, en route between Beaumont, Texas, and Little Rock, Arkansas, covering the Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Car Dirt Series. He'll be back here in the saddle next week, and, of course, 2 weekends from now, we'll be out at Kansas Speedway, and it's the first of the big weekends in 2013. And joining us right now is the president of Kansas Speedway, Pat Warren, to talk about everything that's going on. Pat, good morning and welcome, and I'll bet you're excited that finally spring has arrived, huh?
I can't tell you how happy I am that there's not snow.
Yeah. It has been it's been great here the last several days, and I think it's going to keep that up here in the next couple of weeks. Well, you've expanded the ticket office hours here over the next couple of weekends. First, I want to touch on that a little bit so fans can get out to the Speedway this weekend. 10 till 3 today and tomorrow. The ticket office is open to accommodate everybody that wants to get their tickets purchased. Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, we're actually seeing an increase in sales year over year, which is always exciting. And one of the things we've heard is that some people like to come out and actually talk to us and find out exactly where their seat's going to be. And there's no better way to do that than to actually be at the racetrack itself. And so we made a decision a couple weeks ago that we were going to expand our offers, and the good people in our ticket office are working weekends. Everybody else is right now too.
And for those that haven't got their tickets purchased this week, kind of go through some of the options that they have available for not just this weekend, but you've got the first big road race event coming up in August, and also the event in the fall, which is a couple of weeks earlier, back to its normal weekend in early October.
Right. We've got, obviously, we have the race weekend coming up. April 19th, we've got qualifying. On the 20th, we've got the SFP 250 Camping World Truck Series race. And for the first time ever, we're offering youth tickets, 12 and under. And I think for the truck race, it's a $15 ticket that you can get in our youth sections, and there's 7,000 tickets in those areas. They're sort of in turn, we don't have seats in the turns, so to speak, so they're on either end of the grandstands, but they're up high. They're great seats. You can, obviously at our track, you can see the whole track everywhere you are anyway. But an adult can get a ticket for $35 to the truck race. You can get in for $50. And it's a great way to come out and experience racing. We've got youth pricing also, for the Sprint Cup event for the first time ever. And so we're really trying to do things and be really aggressive to expand the opportunities for people to come see the sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's this notion out there, and it's big in all sports right now, that all major professional sports have priced the average guy out of the market. I mean, you just mentioned and just proved right there that's not the case at Kansas Speedway. It's affordable. You got affordable ticket packages for just about everybody out here, don't you?
Well, that and the other thing that I think really distinguishes us from other major sporting events is you park for free and you can bring in your own food and drink. So the cost of the ticket at the end of the day is all you've got to spend. If you want to come out and see a race, you can bring a cooler, you can bring in your own soft drinks, or, some people I've heard bring in beer, and they can, you can experience the whole event for what the ticket costs you, not $1 more. And not to knock on the Royals or the Chiefs, but they have a different business model, and if you go out there, you're going to spend money on food, and you're going to spend money to park and other things, and that's just one of the differences between our businesses, and I think it's what makes us so fan-friendly.
One of the things, I think you charted a new course here a couple of 3 years ago. You brought more fans down in the infield before the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race than I think any place I've ever seen. Now you see a lot of different racetracks doing what you did. That was quite an undertaking to be able to get all those fans down in the infield and get them out in a timely manner back up into the grandstands. Kind of talk about that kind of a perk that you have for your season ticket holders.
Well, the season ticket holders get what we call a track pass, and Robin Bragg, who was the president of Daytona International Speedway at the time, argued with me and said we should call it a pit pass. And I told Robin that I really didn't want to do that because it wasn't a true pit pass. And a lot of people think pit pass is a garage pass, and there's confusion about that. But the great thing about it is you go down to the infield, You get right up close for driver introductions. This year you can get close to the new Generation 6 car. I mean, you can't literally touch it, but you can get literally close enough to touch it. You're in the middle of everything. It would be like being able to go to a Chiefs game and walk on the field before the game. You can sign the start-finish line. People sign the crash wall. It's an experience that's not like anything that I've ever seen in any sporting event, collegiate or professional. And it's free to anybody who buys a season ticket at the track.
And are there plans? I know you did a lot of work to the facility last year. Of course, the repave and the higher banking of the racetrack, and that came with rave reviews last fall, and you're excited about that. But are there plans in the works to do some different things for the fans down in the infield in the coming years?
Well, we've looked at doing some garage reconfiguration work, and we're not in a position yet where we've been able to make that pencil out financially. That's not to say it won't ever happen. It's just we're not in a position yet to be able to do it. We have a couple of ideas, a couple of different concepts we've looked at. The other thing that we're looking at that we looked really hard at last year and then pulled back at the last minute is doing some new things with video boards and video technology, and I think you'll see that next year. One thing that we're adding for the fall, though, that's actually a surprising issue for our fans, obviously, is wireless phone connectivity. And so we're spending a lot of money to add what's called a DAS, a distributed antenna system, so that anybody who's out at the track, 100,000 people on Sunday, will be able to get a cell phone signal from any of the carriers. And that's something new, and it's really hard to do in a facility that has as big a footprint as we have and puts as many people in a small area, because the typical cell tower can handle, a couple hundred calls. And so if you think about a facility that's got maybe 100,000 people on Sunday, you're going to have a lot more than a few hundred calls at any given time trying to go in or out.
The video is a big thing, too. You just touched on that. A lot of people are so used to sitting in their easy chair at home watching HD TV, and you're going to try to bring a lot of that technology to the racetrack. That's pretty important in this day and age, to give the fan a lot of what they see in their easy chair at home, is it not?
It is, and, there's two approaches that are competing, and again, I just talked about the size of our facilities. To build a video board that would look like something that you see at the sporting park, which is near us, or Arrowhead or Kaufman, you'd have to build a video board 80 feet high and 240 feet long, so roughly the size of a football field, to make that thing feel big in a speedway setting. And you'd have to do two of them, because you got to put one on either side of our media center in front of both garages. Well, when you put something 80 feet high on the ground, actually about 10 feet up, you can imagine what that does to the backstretch. It beats the view. And so that's why we pulled back on that concept, and we're looking at some other things. But what we do have right now is the fan vision, and that's something, again, that's unique to racing, where you can come out and you can either buy one or you can lease one. Most people rent them, and it's basically a scanner with video capability, and you can look at in-car cameras, you can watch the television feed, you can listen to the MRN broadcast, everything you've got, and it's all on a little handheld device about the size of an iPad mini. It's really a neat device, and it really enhances the experience.
Of course, we need to talk about a big event that you got coming up in August. You're going to utilize the new road course for the first time. It's a rather unique event, all under the lights in August. Let's talk about the Grand Am event coming up for the first time at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. The third weekend, I think it is in August. It's the 16th and 17th. And we'll have qualifying on Friday night, and then we'll have two races on Saturday, one Saturday afternoon, and then the Rolex Series race will be Saturday night under the lights, and it'll be a 2-hour and 45-minute race. It'll start at dusk and finish under the lights. It'll be a great experience. It's really unlike what we do on what people consider our NASCAR weekends, because Grand Am is built around, and the Unified Sports Car Series, which it will become next year, are built around accessibility. It's more like the IndyCar Series. The cars go in and off the grid, or on and off the grid, not under power, so you can put fans in the garage area safely. That's the challenge we've got with the Sprint Cup Series, that and just the scale. But so you can get paddock passes, you can get right down close, and then we're doing some other interesting promotions. We're going to do a concert, certainly a post-race concert, maybe a pre-race concert, and we're partnering with that, and we'll have some announcements on that in the near future.
Pat, Troy Harrison here, got a question for you. You guys did a nice job with the road course. I'm excited about the Grand Am race. Have you considered or looked at having an AMA Superbike race there?
We haven't been approached by AMA yet, and we haven't explored it. We are talking to some motorcycle schools about doing some instruction work, and I think that's sort of our first step, because we've got to figure out, okay, the track was built for sports car racing, not for bikes. And so we've got to figure out where we put air fences, how we make it safe. Can we make it safe? We believe we can. We actually spent about $250,000 to add a chicane that's really just a stretch of asphalt, but it's a chicane for the purposes of club racing or for bike racing on the backstretch of the road course, which runs the opposite direction of the backstretch of our oval, parallel but opposite. And so we are looking at that. But it's not something that we're going to do in 2013.
What were the comments? You had the test session right after the Cup weekend last fall. What were some of the comments you heard from the racers that attended that session last fall?
All of the sports car guys that have driven the course absolutely love it. And their comments are that it's wide, it's fast, and that we're going to have a lot of passing. And, it's hard in inside a mile and a half oval to build a really technical road course. There are things, we couldn't move the garages. There were a lot of constraints that we couldn't move. But we worked hand in hand with Grand Am in designing the course, and so it really is a racer designed course. And what the drivers told us they wanted was wide, they wanted it to be fast, and they wanted to be able to pass. And our track will actually have the longest stretch of wide open racing in Grand Am or unified sports car racing. We've got about 6,700 feet from where you exit the road course at the exit of turn 2 of the oval to the entrance of 1. So right in front of the casino until basically the end of the grandstands, if you think about the visual, 6,700 feet of wide open, pedal to the floor racing. And there's nowhere in Grand Am that they have that right now, because their traditional road courses obviously don't have that long of a straightaway. And at Daytona, they've got the dog leg or the bus stop on the back stretch. Where they slow them down.
And the Hollywood Casino is going to be a very popular place to be. That seemed to be a great vantage point to watch the races, but really there's good seats all the way. I mean, you can get a pretty good view of the racetrack from the main grandstand too, can't you?
Yeah, we don't think the grandstands themselves are probably going to be the best place or the most popular place, but we think our hospitality village, in turns 1 and 2, is going to be a phenomenal place to watch, in addition to the infield. We're the only road course of our type that's built in a bowl, where you can, sort of like a traditional stadium. Typically, a road course is either built in a rural area where you can't see it or you can't get above it, or it's built like at Daytona where you don't have a bowl. If you go outside turn 2, you're looking at the side of a berm. And so in our case, you're up above turn 2 and you can look down, you can watch them enter the road course. I think it's really going to be an exciting place to watch.
All right, once again, the ticket office is open every day, including today and tomorrow, 10 until 3, Saturday and Sunday, the next 2 weekends. Pat, we appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to the big weekend coming up with the STP 400 on Sunday, April 21st, and the day before that, Saturday, April 20th, the SFP 250 for the NASCAR Camping Truck Series race. Thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. And I think we ought to point out that, SFP is a local company. They're based here in Leawood, and I think it's neat that a local company is doing what they can to support racing and support the Speedway. And it's not just us that they support, but they do a lot of things in the community.
Very good. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot, Pat.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too now. Pat Warren, the president of Kansas Speedway, and, that's going to be really interesting to see how that all works under the lights. I mean, there's just no road racing events quite like the one we're going to see out here at Kansas Speedway.
No, I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see how the racing plays out on that course. So, no, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm planning on being there.
All right, Martinsville this weekend. What's going to happen?
A lot of crashes, a lot of brake failure, and the guy who's going to win is going to be the guy who can take care of his car. That's the way it always is at Martinsville. You're going to see some blown engines from guys getting up to about 10.5 on the straightaways, trying to push it a little too hard. And like I said, Martinsville rewards somebody, whether you're talking about the 1960s and Richard Petty or the 2000s and and Denny Hamlin, Martinsville rewards somebody who can take care of the car and keep it under him for 500 laps.
And typically, a lot of times, that is Jimmy Johnson, who's
Typically, a lot of times
sitting on the pole, and no surprise about that.
No. You know, and I hear people, I don't know, I hear people complain about Martinsville, well, they can't run too wide in the turns. No, Martinsville it's a scientific track, and it's always a lot of fun to watch.
It is. And will we have the kind of finish we had last year when Clint Boyer made his presence felt at the end and turned around Jeff Gordon, and that ended up in a big brawl at the end of the year at Martinsville? I don't know. Time will tell, but I think Clint's going to have a pretty good day there. He's been running well lately at Martinsville, so we'll see how he goes. Troy, appreciate you coming in.
Thanks
a lot.